Hello, and welcome to On the Shelves at ACPL. This is part 2 of our What's on our Nonfiction shelf. So we are going to get right back into it and see the next group of books. Our first book is Until the End of Time. It is by Brian Greene, and this is a book about space and about the cosmos and our place in it. And so through a series of chapters, essays, Mr. Greene talks about our universe, the elegance, the way that it ties in to math and to art in our world. So if you are interested in space and in the universe and how our world is a part of a greater beautiful whole, this is a great book to pick up and read. Our next book is How the Brain Works, The Facts Visually Explained, and this is by DK Publishing. So this book has a lot of pictures and graphs and very visually interesting layouts that teach you factoids and interesting things about our brain. So I'm going to open it to a random page so you can see how visually interesting this book is. And this says on the back that it is the simplest, most visual guide to the brain ever. So if you're interested in how your brain works, this would be a fun one to read. Our next book is Eat for Life, the Breakthrough Nutrient-Rich Program for Longevity, Disease Reversal, and Sustained Weight Loss. So it has meal plans and it has over 100 delicious recipes. It is by Joel Furman, who also is a doctor. So this book talks about how we can change our eating habits and our lifestyle habits, how to live longer and better using this diet plan. Our next book is Run to the Finish by Amanda Brooks. This is a book that for runners to help them improve their endurance, run longer, and run smarter, and enjoy running perhaps more than you do now. If you are a runner, this is a great book to pick up and find out more. Our next book is Find Your Path by Carrie Underwood. If you do not know who she is a world-famous country singer. This book talks about her Fit 52 lifestyle, which is diet and exercise, includes some cheat days, but the book also talks very frankly about her life and some of the struggles she's had and how she feels about different things. And so if you are a Carrie Underwood fan, or you're looking for you would like to look like Carrie Underwood or try to look like Carrie Underwood, this book would be fun to pick up and read. Our next book is Fix Your Period by Nicole Jardim. 6 weeks to banish bloating, conquer cramps, manage moodiness, and ignite lasting hormone balance. So Nicole talks about how women use different methods, ibuprofen, Midol, different over-the-counter medications, as well as birth control pills to try to control their monthly cycle. However, she suggests that there are probably better ways to do this using natural hormones and natural therapies. If you're interested in trying this, pick up Fix Your Period. Our next book is The New Frontier. It is by Pioneer Woman Cooks. And so there are 112 fantastic favorites of everyday eating. If you are a fan of her show, or if you have her previous cookbooks, this one is add some new recipes to your repertoire, a lot of fun, yummy things that you and your family will enjoy eating. Our next book is also a cookbook and diet book. It is Rocco's Keto Comfort Food Diet. So if you are a fan of Rocco Despirito, or if you are trying a keto diet and want to get some great recipes, things that you thought maybe you couldn't eat anymore, Rocco's book would be a great one to pick up. Our next book is Everything Chocolate, the decadent collection of morning pastries, nostalgic sweets, and show-stopping desserts. If you are a chocoholic, this is a great book to pick up. There are more than 200 recipes that involve chocolate in this book. So if you are like me and that sounds really yummy to you, pick up Everything Chocolate. Our next book is The Side Dish Bible. It has 1,001 perfect recipes. It is by America's Test Kitchen. So when you know what you want to have for your main dish, but you're looking for something to go on the side, or you're thinking maybe of having a dinner made up with sides, there are some wonderful recipes in this cookbook. Next, we have Martha Stewart's Organizing, the manual for bringing order to your life, home, and routines. Everyone who is a fan of Martha Stewart will want to pick up this book. Everyone who is trying to make their lives more organized and get their affairs in order, this would be an extremely helpful book to get you started in that process. Our next book is The New Baby Blueprint, Caring for You and Your Little One. It is by Whitney Casares. She is a doctor, and this book talks about some of the basics of baby care, but it also talks about caring for the mother. Often as a mom, you put your child first and forget about that self-care that is so important. So in this book, she talks about not only caring for your child, but making sure you're also caring for yourself. The next book is Ready or Not, Preparing Our Kids to Thrive in an Uncertain and Rapidly Changing World. It is by Madeline Levine. So this is for our parents of older children as they're going into middle school and high school and getting out into the world. What we do as parents can either help them feel prepared for that, going out into the world, or feel scared. So she suggests not doing the helicopter parent thing, not taking away some of the struggles that our children go through, that by failing, children learn to build resilience and to move past failures into success. And so this book is great for parents that are looking to launch their children out into the world and want to make sure that their kids are prepared, but not stressed out and anxious. Our next book is One Step Ahead, Mastering the Art and Science of Negotiation, and it is by David Sally. There have been many books written about negotiation, but this book updates some of what we've always been told, and we all have to negotiate, whether it is at our job, with our children, with groups that we are involved with. And so this book goes through how to be one step ahead of everyone else and be a great negotiator. Our next book is The Blueprint, Get Unstuck, 6 Practical Tips to Lift Your Leadership to New Heights. It is by Douglas Conant with Amy Fetterman. We all need leadership skills, and this book helps you become a better leader, stepping up your game, working with others, making your workplace better functioning, and you yourself becoming a better leader. So if you want to work on your leadership skills, pick up the blueprint. Our next book is An American Sunrise. It is by Joe Harjo, who is the Poet Laureate of the United States. This is a book of poetry. If you are a fan of poetry, this would be a wonderful book to pick up. Our next book is Had I Known. It is a book of collected essays by Barbara Ehrenreich. She is a journalist and political activist. You might know her name from the book Nickel and Dimed. This covers everything from some of her personal stories, like when she was diagnosed with cancer, to the essays and stories that led to Nickel and Dimed and some of her other writings. So this would be a great thing to read this summer. Our next book is 30 Great North Carolina Science Adventures. It talks about some of our natural wonders here in North Carolina, more than 30 places that you can go and explore. It says from underground wonderlands to islands in the sky and everything in between. Of course, right now, some of the places may not be open, but this is a great guide to get and start making plans for next summer. Our next book is Team of Five, The President's Club in the Age of Trump. It is by Kate Andersen Brower, and it talks about the 5 men who are our past presidents who now in this new age are still somewhat involved in politics. They speak out, they have an interesting and complex relationship between them, and a little bit just about how it feels to be part of this very exclusive club of past presidents. This would be a fascinating read for history fans. Our next book is John Adams Under Fire. It is the Founding Fathers Fight for Justice in the Boston Massacre Murder Trial, and it is by Dan Abrams and David Fisher. We all know John Adams as one of the Founding Fathers, the second president, but this book goes back to before that when he was a lawyer and was part of the Boston Massacre trial and was the prosecutor for that. So if you're interested in history and John Adams, this is a great book. Our next book is Lies, Leakers, and Liberals, The Case Against the Anti-Trump Conspiracy. It is by Judge Jeanine Pirro, and she talks about how the world is against our current president and where some of the media is getting their stories and how this is hurting our country because it is undermining the president's authority. Our next book is called MBS. It is The Rise of Power of Mohammed bin Salman, who is one of the leaders of Saudi Arabia. This book goes into his history and then goes to now where he is possibly involved in the killing of a journalist and some other things that perhaps might be seen as a little unsavory. So if you're interested in the history of the Middle East, this would be a wonderful book to pick up this summer. Our next book is Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter. It is by Curtis Jackson, otherwise known as 50 Cent. Curtis is or was a rapper and had a was very famous and had a great career. But as that fizzled out, he reinvented himself and is now the executive director and of Power, which is an extremely popular series. Curtis says that life on the street and life in the boardroom are very similar. You have to be ruthless, you have to hustle, and he gives his view of the world through this book. And the final book on our new nonfiction shelf is Brother and Sister, a memoir by Diane Keaton. Diane grew up very close to one of her brothers and then watched him kind of go off the rails, have lots of trouble with addictions and losing lots of jobs, just not falling on the side of success. So she writes about why she thinks this is the case and how their life together as brother and sister has changed. And it's just a very interesting read about a brother and a sister, especially when the sister is Diane Keaton. So that is all of our nonfiction books on our new bookshelf. As always, if you want to put anything on hold, go to www.alamancelibraries.org, click on catalog, enter information, and you can put them on hold, or you can call any of our branches and we will be happy to help you do that. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time on the shelves at ACPL.